Hi there, Centre for Effective Living Community. Valerie Ling, clinical psychologist, director, founder, Centre for Effective Living here. And I'm actually feeling a great sense of achievement that I think this is the third week that I've managed to get to you live on a weekday. Today's segment is called Behind the Scenes. It's a segment where I talk about something that's been happening in my personal world behind the scenes. Even though I'm a psychologist, I am first and foremost a human being. And boy, do I have a lot to talk about today. It potentially could be quite therapeutic actually for me to speak it out. But I'm just going to select one thing today to share with you about what's been happening behind the scenes. If you watched yesterday's live stream, I spoke about going to a high school reunion, and if you're interested, here is the update. I did go, and it was great. I walked in and I was warmly welcomed, and the first person that I saw was my old friend and buddy, Kenny. Kenny, if you're there, you liked my page after yesterday. It was like old times. I haven't seen Kenny. I think it must be close to, I don't know, 20 over years. But I just felt like we were kids again. At one point, as we were listening to the principal update us on the goings on in the school, and something was said about how in the late 90s the internet came, and I turned to Kenny and I said, what do you mean? Didn't we have internet when we went to school? And Kenny confirmed this. He says no. And I said, did we have computers? I asked him, and he said, yeah, we did have computers, but we didn't use them. My goodness, I can't remember. We must have done everything handwritten at the time then. Shows my vintage. All right, my behind the scenes segment today is about unrealistic goals. So I got through my morning today, and I was getting a sense as I was just running through my tasks that a real sense of feeling deflated, like, things aren't going according to how I've planned. I've talked about my administrative chaos. That's sorted now. I'm very thankful to Scott and Kathy, our admin team, who have helped me to get on top of things this last 2 weeks. So, yeah, thank you. That all the systems I had put into place. If you know anything about personality type, the Myers-Briggs personality type in particular, you will know that I am an ENTJ. Those 4 alphabets basically mean that I really like and rely on systems and processes. Not so much in my therapeutic role. I'm fairly laid back, I think. My clients, but all the behind the scenes stuff that happens to get a group practice going, where the majority of time I'm not actually at the practice, and the psychologists, they're wonderful. If you see the psychologist at the Centre for Effective Living, will you just tell them what you think of them, hopefully positively, because they are so lovely and they work so flexibly and adaptively with me. But I'm heavily reliant on the systems, and when they don't work, I feel like I didn't work. So, I have a series of helplines that I'll call for myself. I have a mentor for my personal life. In this case, I didn't call her because the issue, although I will be updating her, she's already sent me a message. I did not call her, but I do have a business mentor. Every psychologist needs to have a psychologist, and I have a psychologist myself. And recognizing that I was feeling deflated, and if this kept going, I was on to a downward spiral, because I would start to have negative self-talk. And have you heard of the self-fulfilling prophecy? Self-fulfilling prophecy basically says that what you think is going to happen will probably happen, because you start to act or behave in the way that you predict. And if you are predicting negative outcomes, you will start to act and behave accordingly, or at least start to be myopic and see things only from that perspective. And so I knew I needed to throw out an SOS, a helpline, reach for help. And I sent a voice message to her, and felt instantly a sense of release because I knew in hi Kate, thanks for joining me. Just talking about my moment behind the scenes this week. I sent her the message, and the first thing I recognized was that just verbalizing what I was experiencing into some problem statements. Here's how I'm feeling. Here's the problem that I'm facing. Do you have any wisdom or insight for me? Went through my day, got through the things that I needed to do, got her reply, and as usual, very insightful, full of wisdom, and helped me to clarify and sort some things through my 2 problem statements, which I had made for her. You know, she gave me some input. Then I realized that as the day progressed, at about 2 o'clock, I didn't want to come on and do this live. Confession time. I really didn't want to do this. And I'm saying to myself, Valerie, you've got to show up. Your clients show up every week for their therapy, whether they feel like it or not. They're trusting in the process. They've got an alliance with you. You've got to show up. You've got to show up for your live stream. And just making that mental note and making that commitment to show up unlocked something in me as I started to really sit with what I was feeling and try to pinpoint what the issue was. And I actually realized what the issue was. The issue was that in my setting up of my systems and processes, I've got a series of goals for myself and the business that I'm working towards. And while my personal goals are kind of going okay, but my business goals were not being met. They were being frustrated, and I was blaming or just looking at systems and processes. So what I actually did was I actually went through my goals. I got out a document and I went through it, and I put my psychologist hat on to analyze myself. And I asked myself the question about my business goals. Are they SMART goals? Are they specific? S for specific. Are they measurable? M for measurable. A, are they attainable, achievable? R, are they realistic? And T, is there a time frame for when you're seeing these goals? They were specific goals that I had in mind. They're definitely measurable. If anything, I love data. I love measuring things. The last 3 was where it was getting me. Were they achievable goals? Well, yes, they're achievable, but they're not going to be achievable if they're not realistic to begin with, and T, if I haven't given them an adequate time frame. That's where I was getting caught. And you know, when I realized that, and I thought, it's going to be okay. I just have to modify the SMART goal. To make it achievable, I actually have to make the timeline more realistic, and I actually have to modify the goal to be realistic. I have to reduce what I was actually hoping to achieve. And then I felt dumb. I really felt very silly. I thought to myself, far out. You're a psychologist. How come you don't know this stuff? And then I remembered my segment is behind the scenes. It's because I'm human. I'm still human. Do you have the same thing happen to you as well, Kate? Kate, you're a psychologist, so you have exactly. I'm human. And the processes that I need as a human being, regardless of whether I'm a psychologist, is the same as the ones that we talk with our clients and we reach out to our community with. Number 1, identify the problem. Number 2, call for help. Talk it out. Talk to someone. Number 3, sit with the distress and the discomfort. Don't avoid it. Show up. Turn up. Number 4, when you sit with that distress, when you sit with the discomfort, you actually get to a point of clarity where you're not blaming yourself anymore. You're actually problem solving the situation that's giving you distress. So, you know, then I could do this live. Here I am. I would have turned up anyway. I had another story to tell you, but, you know, I thought that, you know, this is authentic. This is pretty much moment to moment what I'm actually experiencing right now. So I'm going to leave you with that. And with the thought of, you know, SMART goals, first of all, what that is, and also just, I guess, the 4 points that I made, that we're human beings. And even as a psychologist with all of my training, I've actually got to sit under my own processes and my own therapeutic skills to get to point A to point B. Well, Kate, I hope you have a great day. feel free to continue to comment, and I'll chat with you later. Bye. Oh, before I go, hi Erica! You just caught the tail end of it, but I was talking about some stuff I was going through today. Make sure you watch it. Send me your questions and comments because I will respond to it. Bye.